go.
Streaming from South Africa to the world. This is the Stonks Go Moon podcast. What just happened? We break it down so you don't have to.
Welcome everyone to the Stonks Go Moon podcast. My guest today, Daniel Hall. He is a data analytics expert, and today we're talking all about engagement pods. What's up, big dog? Welcome to the pod.
Hey man, it is so good to be here. So good to talk about engagement pods and the list. I call it the top 100 list of lies on social media. But it's been a crazy 6 months now since I started calling out some of the gamers on social media.
Yeah, and that's a big topic for today, right? Is engagement pods. You get two types of engagement pods. You must correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the expert here now. To me, you get the one where we sort of start a WhatsApp group or Telegram group, and a bunch of us are in this group. And when I post content, I post the content into there, and then I say, okay, can everyone go and please and like and share and whatever of that. That's one type of sort of pod I think everyone knows about.
That's correct. Yeah. The manual pods.
The manual pod, right? And then you get this other one, which is a very fascinating and interesting story, because how I discovered it was through one of the influencers that you, right, basically exposed on LinkedIn. He came out and it sort of in a rebuttal, which was like a very weak argument. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And so I sort of, followed him back, because you know what they say, the lady doth protest too much. And then I followed him back and I saw, okay, what is going on here? And then I came across you and I saw what you were doing. And I'm saying, ooh, wait a minute. This guy has receipts. He's not just calling names, but he's playing all the cards. He's saying here. So talk to me about not the manual, but the automatic pods.
Sure. So let's just be clear that I have violated LinkedIn terms of service. I can't count how many times. It's just I'm a gray hat hacker. Sometimes I don't ask for permission to do the things I do.
Okay.
But I'm not going in with malicious intent. I'm not going in to, hack their systems or get personal information. I like to dig and learn and find answers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've joined, I don't even know how many at least thousands of pods. And that's in Link Boost, Podawa, Lempod, a whole myriad of different pod platforms. And part of the hacking piece of this is from your computer to the network that you're connected to, you can see the traffic going back and forth between your computer, and you can capture that traffic if you know how to.
Okay.
And that's a digital receipt of the traffic that's coming to and from your computer. And once you intercept that, you have a digital receipt of what's happening. So if you imagine going into a post, let's say Lempod,
mm-hmm.
and you pull up that post, that information is being sent down to your PC about that post. It's the link where it sits on LinkedIn. It shows who actually submitted that post in for engagement. We'll call it an engagement request.
Okay.
Who submitted it and who the post was for on LinkedIn. And the creator that submitted the post is not always the same as the creator that the post was for. But that's a whole different ballgame right there. Go ahead.
So basically what they do is, it's, let's say, I mean, this is big because LinkedIn is the second or the third biggest social network in the world. Last time I checked, people use LinkedIn for business. They use LinkedIn to connect, to network. It's just not like Facebook. No offense to Meta, but this isn't like posting pics of my holiday or whatever. This serious business people are using this platform. So a creator would upload something and then upload either himself or someone else would upload his content onto this pod platform. And then what does this pod platform do exactly?
It will. So if we talk about the manual engagement pod, hey, it's Rocco, right?
Yes.
Rocco.
Yeah.
I want. Well, let's say we're in a manual pod, and uh, one caveat about manual pods, it usually only benefits the admins of the group. So you might get 4 or 5 people that are running it. And usually there's a list of rules that you have to get through, or a wall you have to get through before you can even put your stuff in. But that's all manual. You would have to go on to my post, you would have to click like, you would have to drop a comment, do whatever the requirement said. The pod platforms, the automated pod platforms using AI, is a completely different ballgame. Rocco might have an account set up on one of these pod platforms and part of your settings on that account would be to automatically, or you would join a pod or multiple pods, hundreds of pods, whatever. And Dan Paul would go in and say, okay, I want to submit a post into the same pod that Rocco's in. And Rocco has his settings to automatically engage on that post, letting the platform that you're on use their AI to automatically click that like button for you and maybe drop in a comment that the person that submitted the post said, okay, I want to have AI generate 20 or 30 different comments for people to choose from. And when it gets to you doing your engagement, it would automatically randomly pick a reaction.
Subset, yeah.
So you could laugh at something, you could heart something, you could support something, whatever the reactions are. And then it would randomly select one of those AI comments for you to drop on that person's post. So it's not really you engaging in it, but it's by you being in that pod, you agree to support all the engagement of any posts that come through that pod, sometimes without you even knowing it, unless you're going through your LinkedIn account and saying, oh, what is this? I spoke German over here? Wait a minute. Now I'm speaking French and Italian? So it gets a little crazy with the AI when it takes over.
Yeah, because that's where I first noticed it, but I couldn't figure out what it was. It's like these people who went from 25, 50 likes to 500, 600 likes overnight. And and there's a part of your brain that goes, how are they doing it? I know something is wrong. And then the other part is, as a creator, is sort of a jealousy, I would say, because why? And it's funny how those metrics basically play on our emotions as creators or as social, people that partake in social media. You see a post with 600 likes, for instance, and you immediately think, oh, this is validation. This person knows exactly because what he's talking about, because look at all the people that is supporting him.
The social proof.
The social proof.
Yep, the social proof. So let's quickly talk about what you just said there. One, how they do it. This is how they do it. They are in maybe 20, 30 different pods on one pod platform, maybe 20 or 30 different pods in another. So maybe they've spread their pods across 4 or 5 different platforms. And they'll submit that one post into every single one of those pods. So you got that one post hitting 30 different pods on each platform. So 90 different pods. Your engagement can skyrocket really quickly. So you could see people getting 400 to 500 reactions every minute. And that's how they do it, is they just, and I can see where they're submitting those posts and how often, on more than one
Yeah.
platform. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
that when we talked about those digital receipts, yeah, but you also mentioned the vanity part of this, and the feel good chemicals that you get out of this,
mm,
the serotonin and the dopamine fixes. Look,
mhm,
at the end of the day, we all have some primary needs. We want to be, other than food and sleep, we want to be seen, loved,
mm,
heard, and valued as humans.
yeah.
And those feel good chemicals are a validation for us. They light up our brain, they keep us engaged. But at the end of the day, if you get too wrapped up on the feel good chemicals
Yeah.
and you're not valued and you're not loved, you're just seen and heard, that feeling, you get a high, you start getting a high, and you keep needing to feed that addiction.
Yeah.
And this is where the mental health aspect of this is, and this is where businesses will often fail, is because they're just not hitting the right audience. They're just spraying their content out there, hoping that maybe one or two big accounts will see them. They'll see that social proof, and in reality it's just a social spoof because it's not real.
So does LinkedIn know that this is going on?
They do.
Okay.
They
Well,
do.
and are they doing anything about it, or is it sort of let's hope this goes away?
They're tight-lipped about it. Um I mean, they've caught fake accounts.
Yep.
They had last year, they did a post where they had shut down one company that was generating fake accounts. And I've heard from reputable sources on LinkedIn, creators that are awesome creators, just talking about how they're being approached by these digital marketing firms.
Mm-hmm.
And once they join their programs, the digital marketers are telling them to create 20 to 30 fake accounts to drive their sales funnels. And so if you think about that, that's just, for every one person that's getting on these pod platforms, they could have 20 or 30 fake accounts associated with them.
Jeez. Yeah. So
Yeah.
for me, the problem is I liken it to a health influencer or anyone in fitness, right? And that person uses steroids or train or Anavar or whatever it is. And then they say, oh no, but I'm natural. And if you buy my course and you buy my supplements or you buy my training program or whatever, you can look exactly like I do. And this is my problem, what these guys are doing with bots, because I saw one of your posts. I said it said 1,700, 1,780 or something about like that. People were growth marketers. So this is what
Yeah.
this thing is being used for. It's getting attention, getting the social proof, and then selling people stuff off the back of that. Is that a fair?
Yes.
That's a fair comment, right?
That's exactly what it is. And a lot of the people that are doing that are mental health folks. I'll have to send you the post that I talk about,
Whoa. Yeah.
there's five different creators, and one of those creators, I'm not going to name names here, but I'd happy
No,
to
let's
send
not.
it to you
No,
offline.
let's not
Uh,
name names. They
but
know who they
this one,
are.
yeah, this one person is on all the pod platforms, just saturated on all these pod platforms.
Mm.
And it's just, this person talks about mental health and is all about mental health. And it's just, it's sad to see. It's sad to see that we're being tricked into thinking that this person is succeeding in the mental health field, when in fact, it's just a big social spoof of deception.
So, how did you come across this practice? I mean, you had to, like you said, you go and dig, but how did that come about?
When back in 2020, we have six children,
Okay.
uh, all from various backgrounds, where we were foster parents and adoptive parents.
Hmm.
So our youngest, she was born addicted to drugs,
Okay.
and obviously she's adopted. But within 4.5 months, part of her small intestines had died. And
Um,
so with that, the drug and alcohol exposure, you get the lack of, just being able to have that cause and effect thinking. So a
mhm.
lot of meltdowns. One day during one of her meltdowns, she disappeared for about 15 minutes and she came back with this drawing. I'm going to pull off my wall here.
Mm-hmm.
And she had come back. I mean, it went completely dead. Silence. And my wife and I looked at each other and we're like, where did she go?
Mm.
And maybe daddy was a little bit loud that day. You can tell.
Yeah,
Picture's
the
worth a
big
thousand
mouth.
words.
Yeah.
She was 4 years old when she drew this. And she came back to me and she said, Daddy, I am sorry. I am so sorry. The fact that she took 15 minutes out of her life to make it about me
Mm.
was truly priceless. And it got me thinking. I've been in tech for 45 years. And this 4-year-old little girl got it. She knew that spending 15 minutes out of her life to make it about somebody else was just breathtaking and pivotal. And now when you can see all the pictures behind me.
Mm.
And every time she comes into my office, she sees her bumps in the road. She sees when she made herself accountable. And she's 8 now and just has a heart of gold. That one act of her doing this drawing got me to thinking, how can we fix social media?
Mm.
So I actually developed software that calculates how much time we're spending together in the comments. And that got me looking at people's comments on LinkedIn.
Oh.
And
Boom goes the dynamite.
Yep. And I'm like, wait a minute. How can this person comment here and then 8 seconds later make another comment on a completely different comment? And it just is a house of cards. And to figure or to even think about what inspired that.
What went through your mind when that dropped? That sort of, wait a minute. What can you remember what you thought?
Yeah. That's what drives me today is all of our children have such remarkable needs. And the fact that they're going to be growing up in a world of vanity metrics and they're going to be seen not as a person but as a number really, really did not sit well with me. I want, if any of our kids are sitting here talking to you and taking time out of their life to make it about you, I want you as a person to appreciate the time that they're spending with you, because they may not make that correlation. So you as a person should know that taking 5 or 10 minutes out of your life, listening to them stim. That's when autistic people just ramble and babble, and they're uncomfortable and they get in their comfort zone by stimming. You would appreciate that more than just the ratings on your podcast and the numbers that you got from your podcast. You would appreciate that you got to spend time with somebody that would probably make your life a lot better as a person. It would make you a better person. And we need more of that.
Yeah.
These vanity metrics are just eating away at humanity's mental health.
So I did a post today about dead internet theory. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I'll take a look at it after
this. That's fine. But what dead internet theory basically says is it's actually a conspiracy theory, not really grounded in facts, but it says that most of the internet is being or has been replaced by AI and bots, and the content that's being created is actually just bots. There's much less humans than we actually think. Because on Meta, you're seeing hundreds and thousands of posts being created by bots, and bots basically engaging with that post without any human interaction. And that's a scary part of
Yeah.
what I think as well, that you are trying sort of to shine a light on and say, but hey, this isn't what's happening isn't good. And if it goes on like this, the consequences are going to be dire, not for me and you. I mean, we are no,
Our next
no,
generations. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. My two are 6 and 3 at the moment, and I don't want them to go. God forbid, I don't even know what social media is going to be like in 5 to 10 years, but I don't want them going through whatever it's going to be, because social media is inevitable. It's not going to go away. Nothing we do, we can protect them and we can sort of educate them, but we need to sort of do something. And that's why I believe in the work that you are doing.
I appreciate that so much. It's up to all of us to put the human back in humanity. You hear me saying that all the time.
Yes.
And that is AI is just is it's AI can be done correctly. And AI's been around since the 1950s. And it's just gone through so many iterations over 7 decades. And it took engagement pods to actually spread AI around the world.
Yeah.
If you look at the most talked about topic in engagement pods, I know you don't have that data, but I do, and I published it a couple days ago,
Hmm.
where AI, the most talked about thing in the pod platforms, 3 different pod platforms, was AI. And
Jeez.
it's just that's how it's getting propagated around. I mean, for 7 decades, we didn't really do much about it, and then engagement pods started coming out, and all of a sudden, the great big 2016 boom of AI,
Mm,
because that's
mm.
about when engagement pods started to crop up.
Last question before I let you
Sure.
go. You call people out on LinkedIn, you tag them, you don't I mean, because I say you put your money where your mouth is. So if people are going to follow you, they can go and see all those people. I don't believe the podcast is the platform to call out people and make allegations and whatever. But I would highly recommend people go and follow you and go and check out for themselves to make up their own opinion, right? But what I want to know is, when you tag someone or when you call them out, do they ever do you ever get pushback, or does someone come and say, "Hey, Daniel, listen, what's up here? What are you doing?" Or, because if it was me, I would have, I'm seeing a lot of what I call false flags operations on LinkedIn, people coming out and saying, oh yeah, but someone put my name into the pod, or I didn't know, or something like that. What I want to know is, have you actually had that engagement with someone?
Absolutely, I get that a lot, and it's sometimes the conversations will start out good, and they'll be like, no, that didn't, I'm not in a pod, I'm not in a pod.
Mm,
And after I send them a screenshot of the pod platform and maybe the post that they're in, then I don't hear back from them.
mm,
But generally, I have a few people that I trust that I will talk about things first before I post it out on LinkedIn. But hear me now, because I don't play favorites.
mm,
If I saw you in a pod, I would call you out. I would call you out. I don't play favorites on LinkedIn. I don't target anybody for their race or their wherever they're from.
mm, mm, mm.
If I see the craziness, I'm gonna call it out. And I just don't want people to think that they're being specifically targeted, or
Yes,
that I'm sitting here looking at everything that they do, trolling them.
yes,
And I see it and I call it.
yeah.
Simple
What
as that. But yeah,
what
they do give me pushback.
Okay,
And
okay.
uh threatened defamation.
Because they're not gonna stop, right?
Right.
This has become their livelihood, and you are the enemy now. And I believe I saw you've been shadow banned by LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, I'm still
Which is
still
frightening.
it's still whether that's really a shadow ban or not. I'm checking with some sources on that to make sure that that's 100% true. I went on fact from somebody else's post, but I'm getting some different stories.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. But when you have you ever had a situation where sort of you get a false positive on someone?
I actually had a situation where I said one Chrome extension was using Lempod,
Okay.
and they said that they don't use Lempod, and I looked at it again, and I had made a mistake, and I openly, publicly apologized to that person. I believe it was the creator of Evy AI, EVY AI,
Okay.
and he said, no, we don't. And I went back and looked. I had completely looked at a different Chrome extension, and they had similar IDs on them.
Yeah.
And I called it wrong. So I openly apologized to him, sent him a message, a DM, and we worked it out.
Yeah, but that's
And
at the end of the
yeah. I'll be the first one to say if I'm wrong.
And that's 100% how it should be. Daniel, thank you so much for joining me today talking about pods. If the listeners want to go and connect with you and check it out for themselves, where can they do that?
On LinkedIn, Daniel B as in boy Hall.
And very important, he has spaces between his name.
But if you're searching for me on LinkedIn, I am dyslexic, and that's why the spaces are there. So it's D space A space every single letter in my name, because then I can see my comments easily, in a post, because everything's spaced out and the brain works a little bit differently.
100%. It was a Canadian friend of mine that pointed it out to me, and once I knew that, it was so easy to find you. Daniel, thank you so much for joining me today. And to our listeners, peace, love, and prosperity. And we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.
There's a shady crew that's up to no good, spreading fake news like they're Robin Hood deadbeats. They sip their lattes, tap their screens, cooking up stories behind the scenes. Their plots are buzzing, algorithms were crafting tales that'll make your head swirl. Engagement pods, oh what a sight. Like each other's most day and night. Vision while conspiracies mean so absurd. Oh, I'll simply come put your feeling like stirred. Captain Hashtag leads this merry band with a handle so cryptic it's hard to understand. He whispers, folks, let's trend this tale about alien presidents and a flat earth gale. Now meet Lady Echo, the pod chief echoer. She amplifies lies with a digital megaphone. Did you hear? The moon's made of cheese. She winks, sips her chai latte with ease. Welcome to the fake news jamboree. Engagement pods, oh what a sight. Like each other's most day and night. They share wild conspiracies mean so absurd. Oh, I'll simply come with your feeling quite stirred. Engagement pods, oh what a sight. Like each other's post day and night. They share wild conspiracies mean so absurd. Oh, I'll simply come put your feeling quite stirred. Beware, dear listener, don't fall for their tricks. Fact check, question, and debunk their mix. For in the realm of engagement pods, for truth is scarce, and satire reigns.